Alright, so we're recording, and what we have now is, you can see we've added a hit counter for the ship. Oh, my pointer's too big. We've added a hit counter. Well, you can see our hit counter for our enemy, and you can see the hit counter for our ship now. And you can see every time we've got the little enemy shooting bullets, and every time he hits our ship, we lose a point. There's 10 hits, and here we go. We're down to the last one. Whoop! And you see it explode, and he comes back. Now, yes, something that could be done is, we'll talk about that when we get in the code, but also, as you can see, when I shoot the enemy, he's losing. You can see his hit counter go down, and he'll explode. Oops, see, I exploded again. He's better at it than I am. But you see, I don't have the screen resetting or anything. The screen could reset. You could have a splash screen come up here and say enemy won or you win, one or the other, depending on, and I'll show you exactly where those splash screens can go. We'll start up here in the top of the code and go through this. This is the last video I'm going to make on this. I think you can see where it's going, and anything you want to add, it's flexible. Okay, so here we declare our buttons, and we're doing the rocket X, enemy X, that's the location of them, and the up and down, whether they need to go up or down, debouncing for the bullet button, and our bullets for the ship. And now we've got enemy bullets down here. We went through that last time, and okay, but here this was added. Previous millies was added, and I'll show you what that's used for here in a minute. And this is about the explosion here, and our hit counter for our enemy and our rocket. And we added a boolean for the enemy hit if they hit the ship. We're calling it the E-hit. That probably could use a more clear description there, but anyway, in our setup, all we do is declare our buttons, set up our buttons and our display. It's the only thing we're doing in setup. And then we come on down here to our loop, and here you can see where I have current millies, and millies is a function, a built-in function, so you don't have to do anything up here in the include files because it's built in. And so you can just call millis, and it is milliseconds. It is 1,000 of a second. 1,000 millis is a second. Okay? So we're setting our current millis to whatever the timer is on our computer, which is the little clock built in. And here you can see what we're doing with our buttons, up or down, or up or down. We still haven't added any thing to button 3, so we say for future use. And then button 4 is of course our bullets for our ship. And here you see where if the ship is hit, we're not going to set this to true. It's going to be if it's not false. So as long as it's what do we declare it up here? We declared it as false. As long as it's not true. And you'll be able to see down here where we're going to set it false in the explosion. That's another point we're going to have to discuss here in a second. So if it's as long as it's false, as long as it's not true, then we're going to do this. Yes, you know, it could be a little clearer than that. And same thing for the enemy. As long as the enemy, and then down here we're going to shoot bullets. The enemy is going to automatically shoot bullets, but we don't want it shooting continuously. So we're going to, and this is actually an example that comes with the Arduino IDE, which is under examples, and in basics, in digital, we've got a blink without delay example, and it shows you how to use this. Turns off and on a light emitting diode, and here's what they do. They do previous millis, and they have an interval. I didn't show you the interval up there. And then they show how you subtract the previous millis from the current. You go into the loop and you set your current millis, and you subtract the previous millis from current millis, and if it's greater than the interval, then you go into your, do whatever you want to do in your loop, and at that point you set your previous millis to current millis, which resets it, and the difference will be the interval. So your first time through, your previous millis is going to be, your current millis is going to be 0. No, your previous millis is going to be 0, so it'll be greater than your interval, so it'll fall through into your loop. It'll immediately start doing it. So that's what we're doing here. If our previous millis subtracted from current millis is greater than our interval, then we come in and we shoot bullets. We do the load bullet thing here, and in our load bullets for the enemy, in our method here, I just said that. Okay, so in our enemy we load the bullets, and again, if there is bullets loaded, then we're going to shoot the bullets down here. Alright, so it's the same thing, pretty much the same thing as we did up here, except for the ship we have to push the button to load the bullets. Down here we're automatically loading the bullets at a given time, and I believe I have it set to 750, 3/4 of a second. Any more than that and it was streaming crazy. Any less than that, you can just you know, if it's a whole second, it seems like it's a long time before you're shooting bullets, but I don't know how easy it is to actually dodge the bullets. But I think you can get around there. Anyway, where I was saying, in the hit, if you get hit and you have an explosion, you can put up a splash screen in there, and in that splash screen you can set a variable that where you have to push. You could say, you know, if you have to push button 3 or something to restart the game, and you can reset everything in that method, in that function. To see, I would put one up here. I'd put a variable or a boolean to say, oh, the rocket got hit, show the rocket splash screen. Down here, if the enemy got hit, then show the enemy splash screen. And you see what I've got here? I changed our function to where it would take parameters, and so I only have one explosion function. I'm not using one for the rocket and one for the ship. I'm using, or for the enemy, I'm using the same function. And what I did is now it takes in the location of whatever got exploded. Takes in the rocket location, or it takes in the ship, the enemy ship location, the X and Y, and it puts that explosion onto that location so that it explodes in the right place. You know, you want the ship to explode. Well, you can see whenever we get shot here, explode. There you go. See, it exploded, and I don't have any delay. It immediately starts over. Because after the explosion I set the hit values back to false. once the explosion hits its maximum radius. But what it could do is set a flag, and like I'm saying, display those screens. Who won? You know, did the ship win or did the enemy win? And that pretty much wraps it up, because we're shooting bullets, and we are these are our counters down here. You see I got the rocket hit counter in the same situation. Had to move it over to the side of the screen. This moves it over to the width of the screen minus 30, because what we were doing is it is 30 pixels wide. The whole strip is 30 pixels wide, and each rectangle is only 2 pixels wide. So we need a rectangle. We make it 3, so we have a space in between them, and so we when it gets hit, it decrements it, and so our hit counter changes accordingly, and we're subtracting our screen width and 30, which is the same thing here, and then we're decrementing our hit counter by 3, and so it goes down lower and lower, and you can see how that works down there. Well, like I said, I think this wraps up this project. I'm not going to expand on it anymore. I got to leave something for other people to do. And besides that, I've got lots of other projects I want to get on. So thanks for watching. And as usual, the code will be on GitHub. And don't forget the header. We haven't changed the header in quite a few lessons. So thanks for watching.